Hi, my name is Becky Park. This is my 7th year selling on Poshmark, and I am going to share 38 Poshmark tips with you in 30 minutes. Let's go. Number 1, if you are just starting out and picking out a username for Poshmark, don't put the word thrift in it, don't put the word bargains in it, just because there are a lot of people who shop on Poshmark that don't know that there are a lot of people who actually buy inventory at places like thrift stores and garage sales to sell on Poshmark. A lot of people who buy on Poshmark think that if you are selling on Poshmark, you are strictly selling items that you yourself used to wear and no longer do. And if you have words like thrift or treasure hunter, then it lets people know that a lot of your inventory is coming from places like thrift stores, and that might be a turn off for some buyers. So in an effort to get as many shoppers shopping from you as possible, you want to make sure that you don't turn anyone off with your username. Number 2, when you are pricing your items on Poshmark, you want to keep Poshmark's pricing brackets in mind. And what I mean by that is reverse engineer a little bit. If you are shopping for an item on Poshmark, you can actually filter by price, and the filters are as such: under $25, $25 to $50, $50 to $100, and so on and so forth. So if there is an item that you are selling that you could realistically price around $55, let's say, why not just price it at $50? Because now you're going to show up in 2 price brackets. You're going to show up in the $25 to $50 price bracket, and you're going to show up in that $50 to $100 price bracket. Number 3, while you're listing, when you go to put in the price that you're going to charge for your item, Poshmark is going to suggest a price for you. 9 times out of 10, that price is nowhere near how you should be pricing your item. More often than not, Poshmark tends to suggest a much lower price than what you ideally should price your item at, and that's for a reason that we're going to get into in a later tip. But for the most part, I would say when it comes to pricing your items, just do a little bit of research beforehand. Look at other listings that are similar or identical to yours, look at how much they're being listed for, look at how much they've sold for, and let that data help you determine how you want to price your item. Tip number 4 goes along with how to price on Poshmark. Like I said, Poshmark is going to suggest a much lower price than how you should price your item, and that's because the culture on Poshmark, I would say, is for you, the seller, to send a potential buyer offers if they like your item, or for the potential buyer to make you an offer. And for that reason, I find that a lot of people tend to price their items a little bit higher than what they're hoping to actually get for the item on Poshmark. So if you are selling a pair of jeans and you're hoping to get around $50 for them, I would price them around like $60 or $65. If you've got a t-shirt that you're hoping to get $10 for, I would price it at $15, because more likely than not, that sale is going to be made on an offer, whether it's an offer that you send to the buyer or an offer that the buyer sends to you. Tip number 5, list anything and everything on Poshmark. I know a lot of people will say you should curate your closet, you should appeal to one specific type of buyer, and there are honestly some people who have found success with that. But for me, I list anything and everything because I know that there are all kinds of buyers on Poshmark. There are moms like myself buying stuff for their kids, so I have bought a lot of kids clothing on Poshmark. There are college students who are only looking for super trendy items. There are more mature women who are shopping for brands like Talbot's and Coldwater Creek and J. Jill, and there are men looking for clothes that they just need to wear to work. Boring brands like Dockers and other boring brands that I can't think of right now. So if you have something laying around the house that may not be particularly interesting or may not appeal to your general aesthetic anymore, that's okay. There are a lot of people on Poshmark who are shopping, and someone who's probably looking for the very item that you have hanging in your closet. Tip number 6, on that note, you can also sell other things on Poshmark that are not clothing. You can list skincare, you can list home goods, you can list electronics, and even stuff for your pets. Number 7, when you are listing an item and you're trying to figure out maybe what an item is or what the style name of that item is, there is a really great free tool online or on your phone called Google Lens. Essentially what Google Lens does is it takes your picture and finds other pictures that look similar to it on the internet. And so if you have a Free People sweater that you're trying to figure out the style name for, you can use Google Lens on the picture of that sweater, and more likely than not, it's going to pull up either the stock photo of that sweater from Free People with the style style name once you go to the website, or it'll show other people's pictures of that same sweater that they have listed in their closet. And by finding other people's listings, or even finding that original piece on the website that it came from, you might be able to find out when that item was for sale. So you know if you have something a little bit more recent or something that's, much older. You can just find a lot of information by finding the style name. So that might be a step that's worth your time. Poshmark has a built-in tool as well called Posh Lens, which is their version of Google Lens. You can see the Posh Lens icon on the right side of the search bar. If you click on it, you can take a picture of whatever item it is that you're trying to find matches for on Poshmark. And if you have something like this Patagonia coat that has a very distinct style and print and pattern, it's going to pull up a lot of great hits for you. Where I think this lacks as a tool and isn't as good as Google Lens is that it's only going to find items for you on Poshmark, whereas with Google Lens, it's going to pull up similar images from everywhere on the internet, including other reselling platforms or even that brand's website. But popular brands that have style names for a lot of their clothing pieces that may be harder to find just by using any of the information on the garment itself are brands like Free People, like I mentioned, Aritzia, Lululemon. These are all brands that have specific style names for a lot of their pieces, but it's just hard to find that information on any of the tags on the garment itself. Tip number 8, there are some brands that make it really easy actually for you to figure out the style name of that garment. For example, there are some shoe brands like Steve Madden that just have the style name imprinted on the inside of their shoe right next to, the size, the material content. And then there are some brands, I think of J. Crew, Madewell, Banana Republic, Athleta, Nike. They have a style number usually on the small inside tag underneath the materials or care tag on the inside of the garment. And if you type in the name of the brand plus the style number, your search on Google will result in a bunch of different hits, including possibly a hit for the website of the brand that you are looking for. And you'll be able to find the brand's information about that particular top or that particular dress, including stock photos and including the style name of the item. And if you're not directed to the brand site, you'll at least probably find other hits for that item, perhaps for listings on places like Poshmark or eBay or Mercari, and you can find out more information about what it is that you have in your possession that way. Tip number 9 is that there is a great website called Poshwatch that just came out. There is a free and a paid version of Poshwatch, but Poshwatch has a lot of really great tools, including a much more powerful comp searching tool than what you can do on Poshmark, I would say. So this is especially powerful if you know the style name of the item that you are trying to find comps for. And by the way, when I keep saying comps, that stands for comparable prices or comparable examples of things that have sold in the past so that you know how to price your item. But Poshwatch is a really great tool to help you do that. I do have an affiliate link for Poshwatch down in the description below if you want to try them out. But even if you didn't want to try the paid version, you can actually get a few searches a day using the free version. And there are also a lot of other great tools on that site, including a list of the top 100 brands that have sold on Poshmark in the last month or so. So definitely check out Poshwatch. Tip number 10, pictures are important. While they don't have to look professional, you just want them to be the best quality pictures that you can take. And you want to make sure that you take pictures of many different angles. You want to make sure that you have a picture of the tag so that they can see the brand, so that they can see the size. You want to have measurements of the garment. I actually take pictures of the measurements. I will take my measuring tape, for example, on a garment, and I will lay it from underarm to underarm, and I will take a picture of the measurement so that people can see the measurement versus just me writing out the measurement in the listing. You want to make sure you take pictures of any flaws, if there are any, if there are little rips or holes or any pilling or makeup stains. You want to make sure that you are telling the entire story of that garment and the condition that it's in through your pictures. Tip number 11, do not use the built-in camera on Poshmark when you're taking your pictures. You have a lot more flexibility when it comes to editing if you just use your regular camera on your phone versus doing it through the Poshmark app. And it's so easy to import your pictures from your camera roll to Poshmark. There's no reason to take pictures from within the Poshmark app. Tip number 12, when you are taking pictures of black clothing items or just things that are really dark, on your phone's camera, camera, go ahead and increase or raise the exposure so that the item is a little bit brighter. And in doing so, you're able to capture all of the details of that item. For example, if the item is ribbed or if the item has buttons or if it's laced up, you can see all of that if you raise the exposure versus if you take the picture using your phone's camera's default setting for the exposure. Tip number 13, this is such a rookie mistake, but sometimes I will take pictures and my lens is so smudgy and dirty, and when I am done taking pictures of items, I realize that my pictures are just kind of foggy looking. So make sure before you take pictures that you just kind of clean your lens a little bit, just wipe it down. Tip number 14 is that you get 80 characters in your listing title. Use every character that you can. Be as descriptive as possible in your listing title, because when someone searches for an item using Poshmark's search bar, the way that they're going to show them the results is based off of how closely their search aligns with the words that you have in your listing title. So not only do you want to obviously have the brand name, you want to have the size, you want to have perhaps the color of the garment, you want to maybe have the materials that your garment is made out of, especially if it's made out of really great materials like silk or cashmere or linen. And if your item is very much a trendy type of aesthetic, for example, if your item is extremely cottagecore or if your item is extremely whimsy goth, those are really great keywords to put in your listing title as well if you have room. Tip number 15. This was a great tip that someone put in the comments of one of my videos one time, but they said, write your descriptions as if the buyer cannot see the pictures. You just want to be as descriptive as possible in your listing description, and you get a lot more characters to do so. This is where you want to put information regarding any flaws that your garment might have. This is where you might want to put information regarding measurements for your garment. You can include information about how your item comes from a smoke and pet-free home, if that's true. Any other things that you think potential buyers might want to know about your garment or about you as a seller, you can put it here. But you want to at least make sure that you have described the item enough that even if they were unable to see the pictures, they would know what that item looks like and the condition that it's in. You're just trying to paint a complete picture of what it is that you're selling. Tip number 16 is to study up on popular aesthetics or just trending styles in general and incorporate those words into your listing title and description. I did mention this in the previous tip, but this is taking it a step further. Just Google popular fashion aesthetics really quickly, and as you're listing your items, if any of them match any of those aesthetics, those are some words that you want to use in your listing description. It is kind of hard to look at a pink shirt with some brocade and it might have like a little bow here, and it's hard to look at it and ask yourself, is this more regal? Is it more coquette? Like, what is this piece? And if that's something that you struggle with when it comes to listing, is knowing the different kinds of aesthetics, is knowing the different trends that are popular right now, I would definitely recommend a resource called Reseller's Edge University. It is run by Kaylee, Elaine, and Trash Pandas, and they are known for what they call style-based sourcing, which means, yes, they know about trending brands at the moment, but more importantly, they know about the trending styles, trending aesthetics. And the reason why that's helpful and important is if you are somebody that likes to source inventory at a place like the Goodwill Outlet or at thrift stores or at garage sales, sometimes you're not finding the best brands, but you are finding items that are trending right now. You're finding items that are easy to write about in the listing description and even in the listing title because they perfectly fit within a specific aesthetic. So if you want a more handheld approach to learning that kind of information, they have live calls with slideshows where they show you pictures of what is Gorpcore or what is Y2K style. They have so much information and expertise on these things. They also have a Facebook group that you can be a part of to share your wins and learn from other people. And it's not just to learn about the different trends and the different styles that are popular right now, but it's also to learn how to grow your reselling business. These are people who have very successful reselling businesses, so they'll also teach you how to scale your reselling business if that's something that you're interested in. I do have an affiliate link for Reseller's Edge University down in the description below that you can check out. Tip number 17, when you create a listing, at the very bottom of the listing, there is something called additional details, and then in parentheses it says private. And within that additional details, there is a spot for COG, which is your cost of goods, your SKU, which is the identifier for that particular piece of inventory. So if you keep all of your inventory in bins or something and your item lives in the G bin, then you can put G there for SKU and any other info that you might want to put there. Nobody sees this information except for you. And the reason why I think it's so helpful to fill out that little portion of your listing is because let's say you get an offer on an item and you want to just make sure that you're going to make an adequate amount of profit on that sale. If you have your cost of goods in that additional information section of your listing, then you can quickly see, okay, my Poshmark fees comes out to this much. I spent this much on the item to begin with. That'll leave me with a profit of X, and you can do that math fairly quickly without having to, find a different spreadsheet that you have all of that information on. That information is just living within your existing listing. It's also helpful because when you make the sale, it will actually show you the SKU so you can go ahead and pull that item really quickly, again, without having to access a separate spreadsheet where that information lives. And then I like to put in the other section where I got the item, just so I can keep track of where my best sourcing locations are. Tip number 18. One of the greatest things about Poshmark is that you can ship up to 5 pounds for the standard label that they give you. That is unheard of because if you were to ship something that was 5 pounds on any other platform, it would cost you probably $20 to $30 because that's how much it costs to ship something that weighs that much. That being said, if somebody creates a bundle and wants to buy many items from you, now pushing that weight well over 5 pounds, I would figure out how you're going to do shipping with the buyer before you finalize the transaction. This is what I mean. Let's say someone is getting 8 items from you and it's going to cost 10 pounds. You can purchase a new shipping label for that heavier weight of 10 pounds, but that is going to cost you so much, and you are going to have to pay for that additional cost in shipping out of your own pocket. Versus if you know that these items are going to cost 10 pounds to ship out and there are 8 items, you might be able to talk to the buyer ahead of time before you finalize the transaction, and perhaps you can get the buyer to agree to creating 2 bundles out of those 8 items instead of putting them all in one, and either having the buyer pay for 2 separate shipping labels, or you can even offer free shipping on one of the bundles, but it'll still probably save you money to do it that way than to purchase a 10-pound shipping label. While you can cancel a transaction and do that after the fact, there's the potential that the buyer won't actually follow through and purchase both bundles from you. If you can get all of that sorted out before the transaction is finalized, you are going to be very thankful that you don't have to spend a ton of extra money on shipping a huge bundle out to someone. Tip number 19. I get a lot of questions in the comments of my YouTube videos of people who are just starting out on Poshmark, and they'll say,
someone added something to a bundle, what do I do now?
What you do now is you just send them an offer. The truth is they may not want to put more than that one item in the bundle, and it might be their way of saying, your move.
Your move.
I like the item, I would like to buy the item. How low are you willing to go on the price? So once they've put an item in their bundle, if a decent amount of time has passed and you're confident that they're not going to add anything else to that bundle, I would just send them your best offer on that bundle. You don't have to offer discounted shipping. If you want to, you absolutely can, and I do think it sweetens the deal, but just know that whatever discounted shipping you offer, the shipping discount is going to come out of your profit. Tip number 20 is if you notice somebody liking multiple items in your closet, I would go ahead and add all of those items into a bundle for them. I would send them a comment or a message in the bundle itself, and then I would go ahead and send them a really great offer with the shipping discount if you so please. I've actually made a good number of sales this way, and it's a great way to just connect with someone who's already engaging in your closet. Tip number 21 is that you actually have the option of turning on a bundle discount from the get-go, and what that does is it lets people know that if they were to purchase a bundle of 2 or more items in your closet, and perhaps you get to specify the minimum number of items in your bundle in order for that discount to be activated. But personally, I would recommend to not turn this on, just because then you are automatically losing out on the opportunity to sell that bundle at full price. I have also had the experience where people will bundle many items together and just buy all of those items at full price. If somebody really wants a discount, they'll let you know. they'll make the bundle, they'll send you an offer, and you can haggle from there on out until you land at a price that you are both comfortable with. But I wouldn't turn on that automatic bundle discount if I were you. Tip number 22 is that if you want a list of everything that you have sold over a specific period of time, whether it's all of last year or last month or since you started on Poshmark, you can actually get that information on Poshmark. It's called My Sales Report, and you find it by opening up your closet. You go to the icon on the top right-hand corner and click on More Seller Tools. Once you're there, you go to My Sales Report, and once you select the time frame that you want your sales report from, Poshmark will actually send you an Excel sheet with all of the sales that you requested to see. Tip number 23 is that if you want a more comprehensive look at your sales analytics, not just a record of the items that you've sold, you can go to My Closet Insights. Again, in order to find that, you're going to go to your closet, click on the icon that is on the top right-hand corner, go to More Seller Tools, and click on My Closet Insights. Here, you can see your numbers over a specific time frame, as well as information like your top performing brands, average sales price, how many items you've listed in a certain period of time, and so much more information. If you are a numbers or data driven person, this is going to be one of your favorite places to go on Poshmark. Tip number 24 is that if you are unable to ship for a certain amount of time, perhaps you're going on vacation or perhaps you are recovering from a surgery, you can put your entire Poshmark closet on vacation hold. And when your closet is on vacation, people can still see your listings. I think they can even like your listings. They just cannot purchase your listings. And that way you're not getting in trouble with Poshmark or from buyers because you're not shipping your items out in a timely manner. And you can even set the day that you want to lift the vacation hold on your Poshmark closet in case you're worried that you're going to forget to stop being on vacation mode. And the lure is that when you get off of vacation mode, you actually make a ton of sales. I don't think that that's always true, but it has happened to me once or twice. Tip number 25 is to share your listings in your closet as often as you can. Yes, you can sit there and manually go to each listing and click share to my followers, but you can also share your listings in bulk using the share to followers bulk listing action on Poshmark. I'll be honest with you, it's a little clunky, but you can also get a third-party Chrome extension that will share your closet without you even having to think about it. But you just want to make sure that you are sharing your listings as frequently as possible, because that's how you can ensure that your listings show up at the top of search results when someone is looking for the item that it is that you're selling. Tip number 26, if you notice that someone has liked an item of yours, and this is something that you'll see in your news feed, send them an offer. As a buyer on Poshmark myself, I will often like items on Poshmark, then sit back and wait for someone to send me an offer, because sometimes people are out here sending really, really good offers and sending better offers than what I would have perhaps offered them for the item. So in case you are encountering maybe me, it's me. Maybe I'm the one liking your item, or buyers who are similar to me. If someone likes an item, I would go ahead and send them an offer. Tip number 27 is to relist stale listings. Poshmark has come out and said that your best chances of selling an item are within that first 30 days of it being listed. And by the time it gets to past 60 days, it can still sell, and I've had listings that are way older than 60 days still sell, but it's just gonna be a lot harder for it to. So Poshmark came out with a tool called Copy Listing that you can use to relist stale listings. It is honestly very clunky and leaves a lot of room to accidentally have two of the same listing listed on Poshmark, but it is the tool that they have come up with. There are also, again, third-party Chrome extensions that can do that work for you without you even having to think about it. But if you want to do it manually yourself for free, you can do that as well. It is just recommended that you do, because once your listing gets too stale, the likelihood of it selling does go way, way, way down. And when you relist a listing, I recommend just checking over the listing, make sure everything is spelled correctly, make sure your pictures look good, make sure the item is still priced competitively. And after making those small adjustments and relisting it as a brand new listing, hopefully that item will sell for you the second or third time around. Tip number 28, you have heard me talk about third-party Chrome extensions, because the truth is Poshmark is pretty high maintenance. They want you to share your listings. They want you to follow other people. They want you to relist stale listings, and all of that takes time. There are Chrome extensions like Poshmark VA, where you can schedule out when you want it to share your closet. You can make sure to hit the max number of shares that you're allowed to do in a day. You can have Poshmark VA follow other people, share other people's listings, even relist stale listings. All you do is schedule out when you want to do it. You schedule it once, and then every day, like clockwork, it will just do those tasks on the schedule that you asked it to do. It is a subscription service that you have to pay for monthly, but it is the best money that I spend every month because I don't have to sit there at my laptop and do this all the live long day, which is wonderful. If you want to try out Poshmark VA, I do have an affiliate link down in the description below. My coupon code is BECKYPARK, and it will allow you to save 20% on your first payment with Poshmark VA. It's just a great way to save a lot of time and help you make more sales. Tip number 29 is when you are listing an item, you have the option to list it at that moment, which is what I do 99.9% of the time, or you can do what they call a drop. A drop means you're going to schedule that listing to become live somewhere in the future, whether it's an hour from now or whether it's 2 weeks from now. This is a great tool to use for a number of reasons. One, if you are going on a trip, let's say, and you don't want to list while you are on that trip, but you want to be consistent with daily listings, this is a good way to schedule listings out in the future. People can see items that are going to drop in the near future when they search for items, so you might be able to rack up likes on an item before that item even goes live, and perhaps as soon as the listing goes live, you decide to send out offers to likers on it, and you might be able to make really quick sales that way. Tip number 30 is that there are some things that you can only do from your computer or laptop that you cannot do from the app on your phone. Yes, you can open the browser on your phone, I guess, and go to Poshmark there, but the tools that we're going to talk about that you can do on your laptop that you cannot do on your phone are going to be extremely hard to navigate from your phone's browser. But some of the things that you can only do on your computer or laptop are things like editing the listing prices of your items in bulk, or bulk editing listings, or even importing listings in bulk. So a lot of the bulk things you can only do from your computer. Tip number 31 is this. Poshmark does not have a nice, easy way to put your entire closet on sale. Instead, they do have a way where you can edit your listing prices in bulk. You can say,
I want to drop the price of everything in my closet by 25%.
But the thing I want you to be aware of is Poshmark only goes to the dollar. They don't go to the cent. And what I mean by that is you cannot price things for $30.25 or $18.99. Therefore, when you drop the price of something by, let's say, 25%, they're going to round to the nearest dollar. And then when you decide that your sale is done and you want to raise the prices of those items, if you raise the prices by 25%, it's not actually going to get back to the original price that that item was at. So just beware of that. Those are the two things that I hate about Poshmark the most, is that there's not an easy way to run a sale, and the fact that they don't go to the cent, they just go to the nearest dollar. Tip number 32, I mentioned this earlier, but you can bulk upload listings onto Poshmark using a spreadsheet. So let's say you are coming to Poshmark from eBay, or you're just going to list to Poshmark for the first time and you have everything organized on a spreadsheet the way that Poshmark told you. Well, you can upload that spreadsheet and create a bunch of listings at once, which is a huge time saver versus doing it all one at a time. Of course, you have to do this from your computer or laptop, but it is a great way to get a lot of listings up at one time. Tip number 33 is that everyone at Poshmark right now is super into this thing called Posh Shows. It is Poshmark's version of live selling. You might decide from the get-go that this is not for you, but I personally would recommend trying it out at least 3 times before you make a decision in regards to whether or not you want to move forward with this feature. I will just say that it seems like right now, Poshmark is very heavily favoring those who do Posh live shows. So my tip would be, if you're even a little curious, just try it at least 3 times before you make a final judgment on whether or not you want to continue with Posh live shows in the future. Tip number 34 is kind of my hack for running a sale. And this is how you can reach many shoppers on Poshmark at once. It's by using the My Shoppers feature. So what you do is you go to your closet, you click on the icon on the top right-hand corner, and you click My Shoppers. From there, you can send messages to people who have liked your items, bundled your items, people who have shopped from you in the past, or a combination of all of the above. And what I like to do is I like to send messages messages to those targeted people and let them know,
hey, I am offering 35% off my entire closet right now. All you have to do is put the items that you're interested in a bundle, send me the 30% off offer, and I will accept.
So you can send them any kind of message you want. You just want to make sure that you do this sparingly because it can come across as very spammy if you do it too much. Tip number 35, if you are going to do any of the bulk features on Poshmark, either from your phone or your laptop or computer, you have to make sure that you keep that screen open. So for example, on your phone, you have to make sure that the Poshmark app is open in order for those messages to keep getting sent out or in order to keep sharing your closet. So I don't know about you, but on my phone, if I'm not using it for a while, the screen will just shut off just to save battery. And if that happens while you're sharing your closet in the bulk sharing mode, then it's gonna stop sharing. Same thing goes for your computer. If you are sharing your listings in bulk or sending messages in bulk, you want to make sure that that browser tab where Poshmark is open and doing that function is open. Otherwise, it's going to stop. You might think you're sending all these messages to people, but you're not. Tip number 36, do not buy wholesale from Poshmark. They are going to ask you if you want to be a part of their wholesale market and buy these great items for your boutique through them. Don't do it. Usually, they are selling you items that are way oversaturated on Poshmark for way too much. You're better off looking for third-party liquidation or wholesale companies. Tip number 37 is that Poshmark has these posh parties throughout the day. I believe there are 3, and if you pay attention to the posh parties and what they're advertising, you'll have a really good idea of what Poshmark is basically telling you are the most popular brands and styles at the moment. So for example, there is a brand specific party one time during the day, and they'll say, share any items that you have to this party from brands like Aritzia or brands like Zara or brands like Vuori. And it's because they know that these are the brands that people are shopping for the most. So while I don't think there's a lot to gain from sharing to those parties, you can if you want, but I think what's even more valuable is clicking into the party and seeing what brands or what styles they're highlighting at the moment and looking for those brands when you're outsourcing. My final tip, tip number 38, is to share your Poshmark referral link with anyone that you think may be interested in Poshmark. If they sign up for Poshmark using your referral link, you actually get $10 of Poshmark credit to shop with, and they get some credit as well. And I guess this is a really good time to tell you that I have a referral link. If you're brand new to Poshmark, I will have it down in the description below, and you can also see it right here. This is how you can sign up for Poshmark and get some credit, and give me a little Poshmark credit too for telling you all these things about Poshmark. But those are my 38 tips. I would love to hear from you any tips that you think I missed or which tip resonated with you the most. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you want more content like this, and definitely check out this video here for more tips on how to sell on Poshmark. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!